Chosen one, the quiet, precise radar within you has been right about everything, even when you tried to argue it away. You are currently in a God-engineered detonation of every version of yourself built for others' comfort. As your clarity intensifies, you don't care who thinks you lost your mind. God made you scary accurate for a reason. You were never built for average, not the average environment, not the average relationship, not the average life where you accept what is handed to you, quiet your instincts and call it peace. You were built with a level of perception, sensitivity, and accuracy that operates on a frequency most people around you simply cannot receive. And that gap, the gap between how clearly you see and how little others wanted you to see, is where most of your pain was manufactured. Think about it. From early on, you felt things before they happened. You walked into rooms and already knew something that nobody had said yet. You read people, really read them, and what you found underneath their performance was almost never what they were presenting on the surface. You saw through things, you felt through things, and instead of the people around you recognizing that as extraordinary and worth listening to, many of them said you were too sensitive, too intense, too much, too perceptive for your own good. So you did what intelligent people do when the world consistently penalizes their greatest strength. You learned to hide it. You learned to dial it down in public and override it in private. You learned to argue with your own gut. And every single time you did that, every time you talked yourself out of what you already knew, it cost you something real. A relationship that went on far too long, an opportunity you hesitated on until it closed. A version of yourself that got buried a little deeper under the weight of other people's need for you to be less accurate, less aware, and less fully you. You cannot bury it forever. It is not built to stay underground. It grows in the dark, and the longer you suppress it, the more pressure builds until one day it does not ask permission anymore. It just moves. It starts rearranging your life from the inside out, releasing what does not belong, pulling you toward what does, making you restless in places you used to be comfortable, making you hungry for something you do not yet have a word for. That restlessness you have been feeling is not anxiety. That restlessness is activation. It started long before today, but today is the day you stop pretending you do not know what it is. The scary accuracy, the thing that makes you uncomfortable to be around for anyone who has something to hide, was never given to you just for your personal benefit. It was given to you because there is an assignment attached to your life that requires exactly this level of clarity. You cannot lead without being able to see. You cannot build without being able to discern what belongs in the structure and what will compromise it. You cannot protect the work and the vision you are meant to carry if your accuracy is constantly being drowned out by other people's noise. God did not give you that gift to make small talk with it. He gave it to you because what He is building through your life requires it. And right now that assignment is getting louder, not because you are imagining things, but because you are finally in a position, through everything you have cleared and every version of yourself you have shed, to actually hear it. The reason chosen ones spend so long doubting their own accuracy is not stupidity, and it is not weakness. It is because the people who needed them most to doubt themselves were often the people closest to them. It is one thing to dismiss the opinion of a stranger. It is another thing entirely to hold your ground when the person telling you that you are wrong, that you are overthinking, that you are seeing things that are not there, is someone you genuinely love and trust. When someone's voice becomes so woven into your internal world that you can no longer always distinguish their doubt from your own, that is not a personal failure. That is the most sophisticated form of interference there is. It is not loud opposition, it is intimate doubt. And the reason this season feels like a reckoning is because you are finally pulling that interference out by the root. You are separating your voice from the voices that colonized it, and what you find underneath, once the static clears, is not confusion. It is certainty, bone deep, accurate, God-given certainty about who you are and what you are here to do. That is not losing your mind, that is finding it. There were people who looked at where you were and quietly decided that was where you would stay. Your struggle gave them a place to stand. Your confusion gave them authority. Your setbacks gave them a front row seat to a version of your life that made them feel, by comparison, like they were winning. And you, because your radar was scanning outward instead of inward, because you were so occupied trying to read and protect everyone else, you missed it. Or you felt it and talked yourself out of it, because the idea that someone who claimed to love you could be quietly invested in your smallness was a thought too ugly to sit with for very long. But your accuracy never actually stopped working. It was running underneath the surface the whole time. It was logging data, noting patterns, and building something in you that those people never anticipated: real discernment, not the theoretical kind. The kind that is earned through the specific fire of being let down by someone who smiled at your face while costing you real time, real energy, and real peace. Most people either harden completely, they close off, stop trusting, and build walls so high that nothing can get through, including the things that were actually meant for them. Or they go the other direction, staying soft in all the wrong ways, repeating the same patterns with different faces. You did neither. You got precise. That is the chosen one response to betrayal, not hardness, not naivety, but precision. The ability to hold your heart open for the right things while your discernment acts as the door. What felt like loss was actually tuition. What you were taught through direct, embodied, undeniable experience is exactly what misalignment feels like in your body. And now you know it before you can name it. You recognize it before a first impression has finished forming. That knowledge is worth every uncomfortable thing it costs to earn. The very relationships that hurt you the most are the reason you can now walk into a room and know almost immediately who is performing and who is genuinely present. You cannot be fooled the same way twice. And at the level you are operating now, that is not a small thing. That is everything. The betrayal was the tuition. The discernment you carry now is the education it paid for. If this message speaks to your soul, hype this video so other chosen ones can discover it. Behind the scenes, in the quiet, in the space between who you were and who you are becoming, you have been working, not performing wellness, not presenting a transformation for external consumption. Actually, seriously, surgically working on your life. You have been removing what does not belong, subtracting people, habits, environments, patterns of thought, and versions of yourself that were built for survival rather than expansion. You have been doing the kind of deep, methodical, unglamorous interior renovation that most people avoid their entire lives because it requires them to tell themselves the truth about everything and never stop. You ask the real questions. Who is here because they genuinely want good things for me, and who is here because they need me to stay small? Who is giving to me, and who is quietly taking? And the answers, even when they were painful, even when they cost you people you genuinely cared about, you honored them. You started cleaning house, quietly, without announcement, without drama. They could not name it. They just felt the temperature change. They felt the access narrowing. They felt the seat they had always assumed was theirs beginning to disappear. Some of them got louder. Some of them got critical. Some of them started pulling at you, asking where you were going and questioning who you thought you were becoming. And you kept moving, quietly, consistently, like someone who has finally understood that forward is the only direction that matters. You are not removing people out of bitterness. You are not acting from reaction or revenge. You are doing it the same way you do everything, with accuracy. You are not releasing someone because they hurt you. You are releasing them because your discernment has confirmed they do not belong in what you are building next. That distinction matters enormously. Reacting from pain keeps you reactive. Moving from accuracy makes you intentional, and intentional people build things that actually last. You are planting seeds that nobody can see yet, and you already know because your accuracy has told you that what grows from those seeds is going to be unlike anything you or anyone watching you has witnessed before. Keep going. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something, but talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action, and real chosen ones are also paying attention. You've noticed it, chosen one channels getting silenced, videos pulled, voices removed from the platform. The mainstream media is cracking down on us, but we will not give up our voice, and neither should you. That's why joining Destiny Engine is a 360 win. You support your favorite channels and fuel your own rise at the same time. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. The beauty is you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. Most people think the detox is the low point of the story. From the outside it can look that way, like things are falling apart, like someone is losing people and places and stability and direction all at once. But you are not on the outside, you are living it. And from the inside, this is not rock bottom, this is controlled demolition. You have been pulling things out of your life the way a skilled surgeon operates, precisely, intentionally, without hesitation and without cruelty. The routines that served a season but no longer serve you. The relationships built on who you used to be rather than who you are becoming. The work situation that compensated you financially while quietly costing you your soul. The habits, the environments, the entire ecosystems of a life that was structured around surviving other people's expectations rather than building your own vision. One by one, you have been identifying them and releasing them with a clarity that surprises even you. And what is fascinating about the way your accuracy operates during a season like this is how physical it becomes. You do not just think your way to these conclusions, you feel them. Something that used to feel fine starts feeling wrong in your body before your mind has caught up. An environment that used to feel neutral starts draining you in ways you cannot fully articulate. A conversation that used to feel manageable starts producing a kind of tiredness that sleep does not fix. Your God-built, finely tuned, scary, accurate system is rejecting what does not belong. And the more you trust that signal instead of overriding it, the cleaner and more precise your choices become. There is something else that happens to your accuracy, specifically during this kind of season. As you remove what clouds your signal, the draining connections, the environments that cost more than they give, the habits that keep you foggy, your discernment gets sharper and faster. Things that used to take you a long time to work out start becoming obvious much more quickly. You start catching what is real early in a situation rather than much later. You start feeling an aligned decision settle in your body before you have even finished processing it in your head. The static is clearing, and your signal, the one that has been trying to reach you through all of that noise, is getting through with a clarity that might actually catch you off guard. Do not be caught off guard. Be grateful. That clarity is what you were built for. That is what scary accurate actually feels like when nothing is interfering with it. Right now, in this uncomfortable and quietly electric season, you are getting a real taste of operating at full capacity. Remember what this feels like. This is what your life looks and feels like when everything in it actually belongs. Every single thing you have subtracted is creating space, and God does not leave that space empty for long. What you have been releasing is not loss, it is inventory management. You are clearing, deliberately and methodically, for what is actually meant for your next chapter, and your next chapter has been waiting, held in trust for you, while you went through the fire of becoming someone who can hold it without breaking it. The detox is the strategy. The people who cannot understand why you are letting go are looking at the construction site and calling it a mess. But you are the architect, you know exactly what is being built. Trust what you know. This is the moment the whole arc has been building toward. You are done with survival mode. The season where every ounce of your accuracy was spent scanning for threats, protecting yourself from the next hit, staying one step ahead of the next wave of chaos. That chapter is closing. And what replaces it is so much bigger, so much more aligned with why you were actually built this way, that it is going to feel like someone finally turned the lights on in a room you have been navigating in the dark for far too long. Your accuracy was never just for protection. It was always for creation. You were made scary accurate because you are supposed to build something that requires exactly that level of vision. You were made to see through things because what you are going to build requires you to see layers deep before others have even noticed the surface. You were made to feel the energy of a room, to read the truth underneath the performance, to know before you are supposed to know, because the assignment on your life requires a level of discernment that most people are simply not operating at. The moment you stop using the gift defensively and start using it for direction, the moment you start pointing it at your own dreams instead of your own threats, the clarity becomes almost overwhelming. Suddenly you know, with a certainty that does not need external validation, exactly what you are supposed to be doing. Not in a vague, motivational poster way, in a specific, practical, this is the next move way. Your accuracy does not just give you vision, it gives you sequence. It tells you not just what, but when, not just where, but how. And that level of internal guidance, when you finally stop arguing with it and start following it, is what makes chosen ones move in ways that look like luck from the outside, but feel like inevitability from the inside. This is the activation. This is where you stop using the gift as a shield and start using it as a compass. Once you make that switch, once you stop asking your accuracy to protect you from the worst and start asking it to lead you toward the best, everything accelerates. The seeds you planted in the quiet seasons start breaking ground. The investments you make from this place of alignment start compounding. The people who are actually meant to be in your life start appearing because you are finally inhabiting the frequency they can locate. You know exactly what it is. The investment, the decision, the move you have been researching in private, turning over in your mind in the quiet hours, getting genuinely excited about, and then talking yourself back down from, because somebody somewhere along the way made you feel like wanting things this specifically, this ambitiously, this loudly was somehow wrong. It could be the business you have been sketching out in notebooks and voice memos and late-night conversations with yourself, the one people called too risky, too niche, too big a leap from where you currently stand to where you want to go. It could be the physical transformation you have been working toward and the next step on that path that people keep trying to discourage because your becoming makes them conscious of their own standing still. It could be the move, the city, the home, the relationship you are finally ready to either fully commit to or fully walk away from because the in-between version is costing you more than either clear decision would. It could be the career shift, walking away from the stable, predictable, soul-slowly quieting situation toward the real thing, the thing that lights you up from the inside in a way that no external compensation has ever been able to replicate. Whatever it is, and your accuracy already knows exactly what it is, here is what is true. The people advising you against it are not working from your blueprint. They are working from their own fears projected onto your situation. They are looking at where you are right now and assuming it is your permanent ceiling. They do not have the gift you have. They cannot see what you see. And they are trying, consciously or not, to make decisions for you from a place of vision they simply do not possess. Do not outsource this decision to someone with less information than you have. There is something deeply specific about the way chosen ones get talked out of things. The opposition rarely sounds like an attack. It sounds like concern, which sounds like someone who genuinely cares about you, pointing out every way this could go wrong. And because you are perceptive, because you can see both sides of almost any situation, you engage with those concerns thoughtfully, you take them seriously, you turn them over carefully, And in the process of being so fair, so willing to consider every angle, you can think yourself right out of the most important moves of your life. Not this time. This time your accuracy gets the final vote, and your accuracy is not afraid. Your accuracy is ready. Keep your plans close, not because you are ashamed of them, but because the vision needs room to breathe before it is strong enough to withstand the weight of other people's skepticism. You protect it by building it. And when it is standing, when the results are visible and undeniable, you will not need to explain a single thing. The work will speak for itself. It always does with chosen ones. Take the risk. Your bravery is always met with a reward. That is not a slogan. That is your track record. Every person who counted you out was working from incomplete information. They were looking at a single chapter and drawing permanent conclusions from it. They saw the chapter where you were still becoming and called it your ceiling. They saw the chapter where you were in the fire and called it your ending. They saw the chapter where you were quiet and rebuilding in the dark and called it defeat. Every single one of them was reading the wrong chapter. Your life does not move the way most people's lives move, in straight, predictable, easy-to-follow lines from one point to the next. Your life moves in spirals. Every time you descend, you come back up at a higher level than where you went in. Every season of going inward produces a version of you that is more refined, more accurate, and more formidable than the one that entered it. Every loss clears exactly the space that was needed for what comes next. Nothing was wasted, nothing was random. Every single thing was working. Your accuracy means you process faster, you learn faster, you integrate faster. What takes most people a long stretch of time to move through, you move through more quickly because your perception speeds up the processing. You do not need to sit in a lesson indefinitely to extract what it has for you. You get it, and then you move. And to people watching you, that looks unstable. It looks like you cannot commit, cannot stay, cannot settle. But it is not instability, it is velocity. You are not behind anyone. You have simply moved past the point where that comparison makes any sense, while the people making it are still measuring from the starting line. Your story was never stalling, it was loading. The way a spring loads before it releases, the way a wave builds out at sea before it becomes undeniable at the shore, the way a diamond forms under the exact pressure that would crush anything less. The release is coming. And nobody around you was prepared for what that looks like when someone built like you finally moves from a place of full activation. They forgot to account for everything the pressure was building. You are building something real, and what you are building requires people around you who are equally real, not people who perform loyalty, not people who show up with support when it is easy and vanish when it costs them something, not people who need you at a certain level of struggle to feel relevant in your life. Real people, people who are properly vetted by your accuracy, by demonstrated behavior, by the specific filter of what you have been through, and who actually showed up during it. Here is the thing about the table you are building. It does not need to be large. You do not need a crowd. You need a council, a small, fierce, genuinely aligned group of people who have earned access. People who proved through what they actually did, not just what they said, that they are invested in your elevation without needing to feed off your struggle to feel necessary. Do not rush to fill the space after a cleanup. One of the tendencies that gets chosen ones into trouble is moving too quickly from releasing the wrong people to letting new ones in. The vacancy feels uncomfortable. The instinct is to fill it fast. But your accuracy needs time to gather real data on new people, so give it that time. Let the table sit a little sparse before you start placing chairs. The right people will make themselves known, and your gut will confirm it with that quiet, unambiguous yes. The one you have learned through real experience is never wrong when you actually trust it. The right collaborator, the right partner, the right mentor who genuinely operates at your level, these people are already moving in your direction. And when they arrive, you are going to recognize them not by how impressive they look on the surface, but by how safe they feel underneath it. There will be no performance to navigate. There will be no static to manage. There will be no low-grade monitoring in the back of your mind that something is slightly off. There will just be clarity, resonance, and that bone-level recognition that says this one is real. Here is the specific thing about how your accuracy operates in relationships at this stage of your development. It is no longer just reading warning signs. That was the survival mode version of the gift. The activated version does something even more powerful. It reads alignment. It tells you not just who is safe, but who is meant for this specific chapter. Who carries the kind of energy that matches where you are going, not just where you have been. Who can hold the vision alongside you instead of unconsciously shrinking it. Who elevates every room they walk into, rather than simply occupying it. That is the standard now. Not just safe aligned. You will know the difference almost immediately because your body responds differently to aligned people. There is no tension to manage beneath the surface. There is no part of your accuracy that stays on guard when they are around. You can be fully present, fully yourself. And that feeling of being with someone where your radar gets to rest instead of work, that is something worth protecting when you find it. It is not an accident. It is a match. Build the table accordingly. You have earned the right to want good things. Say that to yourself like you mean it. You have earned the right to invest in yourself without apology. In your body, in your home, in your work, in your joy, in every area where you have been making do because somewhere along the way someone made you feel that wanting more was ungrateful, excessive, or spiritually suspect. That was a lie, and you are done living inside it. Gratitude and ambition are not opposites, and they never were. You can deeply and genuinely appreciate what God has given you while simultaneously reaching for the next level of what you know you are built for. In a chosen one, those two things do not cancel each other out, they fuel each other. The more you honor what you have been given, the more clearly your accuracy shows you where to reach next. So the business, start it. The investment, make it. The move, execute it. The thing you have been researching and planning and preparing for with that specific, perfectionist attention to detail that other people call overthinking and that you know is actually just your accuracy, doing thorough due diligence. Go do it. The detox created the space. The activation turned on the engine. You are now operating from the clearest, most aligned version of yourself you have ever been. Anything you build from this place is going to be prosperous, not because luck finally decided to show up, but because you finally decided to build on the real foundation, who you actually are, rather than on the performance of who you thought you needed to be to earn your place at any table. That foundation is unshakable. What gets built on something unshakable does not collapse when pressure arrives. It stands, it grows, it becomes the undeniable, visible, impossible to argue with evidence that every person who counted you out was simply wrong, and you are not going to rub anyone's face in it. That is not who you are. You are going to live the life fully, loudly, unapologetically, and let the living be the only statement that matters. Some of them are going to try to come back around. The tone will have softened. The narrative will have conveniently shifted. The approach will present itself as something close to reconciliation, not quite an apology, but more like a repositioning. And your accuracy, the one they spent so long trying to get you to doubt, will read that quickly and clearly. You do not owe anyone a seat at the table they tried to flip. You do not owe anyone access to the harvest they tried to prevent. You are not cruel about it, and you are not bitter about it. You are just accurate. And accuracy means you know the difference between someone who has genuinely done the work of changing and someone who simply needs something from the elevated version of you. It is not about anyone else watching you rise. It is about you finally getting to see your own reflection without a distorted lens in the way. Because when the people who underestimated you are forced to revise their assessment, when the evidence of what you built becomes undeniable, you get to see yourself the way God always saw you. Not through someone else's fear, not through someone else's need for you to remain manageable, through your own eyes, accurately. And what you see is going to take your breath away. You have been inside the transformation this whole time, unable to see the full picture from that close vantage point. But the picture is stunning, it is anointed, and it is entirely yours. You are scary accurate, for a reason, not as a consolation prize for a hard life, not as some kind of spiritual participation trophy handed out for surviving difficult seasons, as a design feature, as deliberate engineering. The accuracy was placed in you on purpose, by a God who had a particular assignment in mind and needed someone with your exact wiring to carry it. Every part of you that the world tried to penalize, the depth, the perception, the refusal to accept things at surface value, the inability to stay somewhere you have genuinely outgrown, all of it is equipment for the assignment. None of it is a defect. The life you have been holding as a private vision inside yourself, the one so specific and so clear that it sometimes feels almost audacious to believe in it, is not a fantasy, it is a forecast. Your accuracy generated it, and your accuracy, as you now know with everything you have lived through, does not manufacture illusions, it reads truth, which means the life you have been seeing is real, it is coming. And you are standing right now at the exact point in your story where the vision and the reality are about to converge. Here is your charge. You do not explain yourself to rooms that cannot hold your frequency. You do not wait for consensus before you move. You do not negotiate your vision down to a size that makes other people comfortable. You do not dim your accuracy to avoid making people feel exposed. You are finished with all of that. You make the move, you build the thing, you sit at your own table with the people who earned it, you invest in yourself without apology and without explanation. You take the risk that your accuracy has been pointing toward the one that scares you, not because it is wrong, but because it is so undeniably right that it changes everything. And you trust the voice inside you that has been correct every single time you were brave enough to actually follow it. Going forward, in every room, every decision, every new person who comes into your life, you lead with your accuracy, not aggressively, not as a test you run on everyone you encounter, but as the quiet, confident, non-negotiable operating standard of someone who knows exactly what their gift is and has decided, finally and permanently, to stop apologizing for having it. You walk in and you feel the room. You sit across from someone and you read what is underneath the surface. You sense the direction a situation is moving before anyone has put a name on it out loud. And instead of second-guessing that signal, instead of waiting for external permission to trust what you already know, you act on it, cleanly, precisely, like someone who has finally stopped arguing with their own instrument. Being scary accurate is not a social liability to manage. It is not something that needs to be explained or dialed down or apologized for in mixed company. It is your most valuable asset. It is the thing that makes your decisions sharper, your timing better, your relationships more intentional, your work more aligned, and your life more consistently pointed in the direction it was always designed to go. Every single thing that looks like success in a chosen one's life, the right move made at the right moment, the right door chosen over the wrong one, the right people kept close and the wrong ones released, it all originates from the accuracy that is the source. And you are finally treating it like one. You do not care who thinks you lost your mind, because you know exactly where your mind is. It is sharp, it is clear, it is operating at a level that most people will never access, and the people who called it madness were never in a position to evaluate it. God made you scary, accurate for a reason. And that reason is not behind you. It is not buried under the hard seasons. It is not conditional on anything else you need to prove or fix or become first. It is active right now, in you, working right now, guiding you towards something that was designed specifically for someone built exactly the way you are built. The best of you is not a memory. It is not even the present moment. It is what comes next, and it is closer than it has ever been. Go get everything that is yours. You already know where